Good evening, and welcome to the St. Petersburg by Night podcasting network. Tonight, we present to you our Werewolf the Apocalypse Chronicle, Rage Across Tampa.
Welcome back, everyone, to the St. Pete by Night Twitch stream where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness Chronicle set in St. Pete, Florida. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition Chronicle set just across the bay from St. Petersburg in Tampa, Florida. Our pack found themselves in a very interesting scenario recently where they have to take a journey into the deep Umbra to find a relic known as Gaia's Tear, a item that they're not quite sure how to describe or what exactly it is they're looking for, but it is a relic nonetheless expected to be able to bring a guru back from the brink of Hirano or Hoglosk, to redeem them and help them find their wolf once again and rejoin the Guru Nation as a successful and contributing member rather than a bloodthirsty lunatic or a depressed edgelord. I'm Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media. I am the lead storyteller of St. Pete by Night, and I am the storyteller of Rage Across Tampa, and I am so excited to be here. It's one of my favorite times of the week. And I'm going to turn it over now to the players to let them introduce themselves. Players, say hello.
Hey, everybody. My name is Preston. I play Aiden Goodspeed, the rune of the Gale Stalkers.
Hey, everyone. I'm Champagne, Ayo Dude, whatever you want to call me, doesn't matter. I will be playing Aspen Weiss, Tribe Silverfangs, Philodox.
Hey everyone, I am Noree. I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Black Fury Galliard.
Hi everybody, I'm Simon. I'll be playing Ash Speaker, the Theurge from the Ghost Council.
Also, if you're not following along with Rage Across Tampa, you should go catch up on the past episodes here on Twitch or over on YouTube, where they are both available. Get caught up on this story, because the story is about to get strange, very strange, as the Guru venture into the Umbra officially for kind of the first time, especially in Tampa, a place where, you know, society hasn't been too kind to the Umbra or kind to Gaia as a whole, and now the Guru will have to deal with that and figure out how to find this relic they're looking for, while also assessing and dealing with the threat that the area has been suffering with recently. In the world of darkness, nothing is easy. In the world of darkness, nothing is free. If you get something, it's probably because you paid a sizable price for it. A price that you, at the time, may not even be aware you're paying. Whether it's something immediate, like paying in blood, paying in pain, paying in loss, or whether it's something a little more drawn out, like a debt owed, or a consequence yet to be revealed. Maybe a consequence not to you, but a consequence to someone you care about, like our dear Jester has experienced recently with Stheno currently being held in prison for crimes that they didn't exactly commit. The Umbra is a reflection of feelings and emotions. The emotions of not just mortals, not just Guru, not just kindred, but of animals, of energies, of evolution. The wild, the weaver, and the worm, who create and are responsible for all things existing on the material plane, really call the Umbra their home, their manifestation, their creation. And all are reflected there. Some more than others, depending on your location. For example, when you are out in someplace remote, someplace more attuned with nature, that's where the wild reigns. When you are in somewhere more urban, somewhere where evolution and development and technology takes hold, that's where the weaver calls home. And then there's the worm. The worm does have home, but it really calls all of Gaia, all of the Umbra, its home. Because in this age of apocalypse, Gaia is dying. The earth is dying. Decay and rot run rampant. And the effects of the worm are never as clear as when you first stepped foot into the Umbra. When you dove into Lettuce Lake off of the observation tower, expecting to splash into the waters of the Umbra, but only instead finding a dried lake bed. You're still recovering slightly from the dizzying affair, the bumps and bruises suffered, not enough to do any real damage, but enough to definitely shock your system and send stars kind of swirling in your vision. But that dizzying array, that sense, is kind of snapped into clarity, looking around the dried riverbed, the cracks across its surface, bubbling with this almost dried, viscous fluid that can only be Gaia's blood. When a voice broke the silence and called your attention over to the shore up above, where a large spider spirit seems to be hunched on the edge of the shoreline. Its colors a kind of swirling pattern of blue and green and brown. Its many eyes kind of focused on you from above, all of them almost rolling simultaneously when it says, "Ugh, you guys." Artie almost immediately hops off of the ground where he had been laying on his side and goes sprinting over the shoreline with a "Regina!" And he goes springing up to the riverbank or the lake shore and hops up onto the edge and kind of goes to tackle the spider in a hug. Now, this spider is incredibly large, larger than a normal human man would look, more like the size of a Jeep. A Jeep that you've all taken many rides in and come to know very well. As Artie throws his arms around the spider's neck, the spider just says, "I'll talk to you in a second," and just kind of shoves him off with a big spider leg, sending him sprawling onto the ground. Well, this is thing, isn't it? She says as she looks down at the rest of you in the dried lake bed. And the scene is yours.
Aspen will get up from falling onto her butt, brush herself off, pull at her clothes as she usually does, try to look better than, the dirt and viscous on her body, and kind of walk up at a very cautious distance and move to the side and just look at everybody else, just kind of dumbfounded with what's happening.
Aiden will jump up as well and he'll brush away. Thought there would be water. My bad. And he'll kind of cautiously walk just slightly in front of Aspen between Regina and her, adding a body blockade.
Jester will get up, realize she's naked, and be like, I thought clothes could be brought over.
You got to dedicate him first. Aiden's right.
Oh. Okay.
Next time.
Yeah. Next time. I'll just go wolf. I'll just shift into the wolf. Lupus.
Okay, so with a kind of shake and a change, you lean forward, dropping onto all fours, and the shift happens almost more fluidly and more simply than it normally does. While it's a long transitional process, it seems almost instantaneous as you drop to all fours and assume the form of the wolf.
Well, welcome to the Umbra. Whose first time is it? Artie, have you been here before?
Yeah, he says as he kind of rubs his butt, standing up again, kind of looking at Regina strangely. What was all that about? She kind of looks over, all 8 eyes shifting over to face him. Her, jowls kind of twitching ever so slightly as she speaks. Do you think I like being used as a recycling bin? Do you think I enjoy the sounds of all of those little cans clacking around in the trunk? Go to a bin, man. Yeah, I'll get on that, Artie says as he kind of looks bashfully ashamed. And then she immediately lifts one of her large, kind of spidery legs and then wraps it around him and yanks him in close, giving him a tight squeeze, and he keeps kind of ugh! So, a bunch of first-timers, huh? She says as she looks down. Shit's about to get fucked up.
Yeah, this is a lot different than back home's Umbra.
Oh yeah, it's a mess here.
Clearly. Do you know how long the water's been gone from here?
Can't say. I'm usually a Jeep, I guess, and we don't take a lot of trips out here. But, it's got to have been a while.
Okay, well, let's see if we can find anything helpful.
Yeah, what's the plan? What are we doing?
I'm going to
So my
start
hope-
sniffing around.
My hope was to find maybe a amicable spirit that is normally on this side that might be able to help us sniff out a tier. Really hoping for a loon or something. So really, I guess we can start looking for trails. See if we can find any tracks.
Like actual tracks, or are we?
Yeah, things leave tracks here. So, looking around is looking around. See if we can find anything of note.
Well, before you all go charging off, probably be best we lay some ground rules. You leave a track too. And there are going to be a lot of things that are unhappy that you're here. A lot of things that haven't had anyone cross over in, well, a while. As I'm sure you've discussed, time works differently here. So while it may have only been a decade in the material plane since you all have been more frequent in the area, it's been a lot longer, or a lot shorter, depending on where you are. So some might be happy to see you, but most will be, well, a variety of emotions. Some might feel betrayed, some might feel angry, some might feel indifferent. I think most of them will feel fairly indifferent since you've been gone for so long. But remember that this isn't your home. Not completely. A part of you, yes, but most of you, no. You are in someone else's neighborhood now. So keep that in mind when you're doing whatever it is you're gonna do. But that's it. Just keep that in mind, because Gaia is not in a position to be able to tell the difference of whether you're here to help or to harm, and she also doesn't really know whether she wants you here or not. So you might feel that as you go moving about. But I'm here to help. You've all been good to me. Aspen, I see you coming around. I appreciate your words. So let me know if there's anything I can provide. But she kind of clicks a few times and kind of lifts her legs up and down a little bit, and you see several other smaller spiders kind of come crawling out from beneath her and start moving together and kind of moving quickly over the surface of the ground, and you can see them leaving a kind of interwoven trail behind them as they go back and forth, kind of hopping over each other and tracing. And after probably 4 or 5 minutes, Regina kind of reaches down with one of her legs and scoops something up, and you can see something assembling, kind of like a jumpsuit has been made. And she just kind of hucks it over in Jester's direction. That should be able to go back and forth with you if you decide to visit again.
I'll shift and change.
She scoops Artie up onto her back and starts kind of crawling down the lake bed wall until she's down on the ground with you, her head reaching up to just about yours, if not slightly higher. So where do you want to start?
Aiden, do you want to take a look around?
I'll see. Just regular tracks, like.
Yeah, see what you can find. This is the shadow of the other world, maybe. But some of the rules seem the same. So see what you can find, sniff around. Please don't go out of sight of each other. Stay fairly close. You can move around a little bit, but make sure you keep sight of us. I can get back here. I can get us back here wherever we go, as long as we stick together.
Okay. Going to go into my lupus form and start trying to find some tracks.
Okay, so again, in an almost blurring speed, you drop to all fours, assuming the lupus form almost instantaneously as you do so. A very fluid and smooth transition. You start sniffing and using your eyesight along the riverbed, kind of trying to inspect the surface for any remnants or signs of a trail. Go ahead and roll me a wits and occult roll.
I'm gonna do the same.
Once I finish changing, I'm going to just go to Regina. Thank you.
She kind of bucks her head up and down a few times, her whole body kind of shifting with her legs as she does so.
One success.
One success. Joseph.
I got 4.
4 successes. Okay. Aiden's the first to notice it, but not really know what it is. Aiden, something... You detect a very, very faint kind of essence of a kind that smells familiar, but also old. You detect the whiff of Garou, but it seems to be very, very faint and almost fading. Joseph, based off of Aiden's body language and kind of the way he is almost taking like a very pointer stance, his snout extended outwards in a specific direction, you see it. You see a trail kind of form before you, but it is, as previously described, very faint. Footsteps that become wolf pads that kind of are in the surface of the ground, but they almost seem like impressions that have been solidified in the riverbed, buried in the dirt, sunk in and hardened over time, but they seem to be heading off further into the river, or into the lake.
Somebody came this way before. It's a lead. Let's follow it.
Okay. So you follow the foot trail that leads you across, Regina kind of taking up the rear with Artie on her back as she prowls along. Go ahead and roll me a wits and awareness, the rest of you, as Joseph and Aiden are kind of taking point. Successes. Okay. You hear it at first before you see it, the sounds of little kind of clicking as, looking over your shoulder, similar spirits to the small spiders you saw before, weaver spirits, seem to be amassing on the form that is the observation tower and seem to be crawling up the lengths of it, hopping from pole to pole, kind of stitching up what appears to be the fabric of the Umbra itself. It seems, based off of the rip you can see where you had fallen through, they are attempting to repair and further solidify the gauntlet, raising the gauntlet rating, as the Weaver spirits seem to be intent on sealing off the Umbra to the best of their ability. Go ahead and roll a Wits and Insight check, Jester and Aspen. Okay. Jester, you can definitely tell based off of their actions and movement that they are sealing up the Umbra, and from what you can tell, they have been doing this for a while now. You can see, looking over the structure, that there are these kind of strands that are across the different posts of the observation tower, across the stairwells. It seems like they're almost building what seems to be some sort of spiritual spiderweb wall, trying to seal up this entrance, this gauntlet. And you can see across the tree line nearby that they have already done a pretty solid job across the trees on the shore, and that this is kind of the only real gap remaining. And if they continue to do so, if a cairn isn't built or some sort of access point isn't built, this will become a place that is even more difficult to break through to the Umbra soon. Following the trail, you cross the lake, and it feels like a desert. It feels barren, it feels dry, it feels lifeless. Looking over on the ground, you can see what look to be fish that are just kind of laying on the dry riverbed, long since perished, almost turning skeletal in their remains, but they're not actual fish. These appear to be the spirits of fish, which take a lot longer to die than actual fish. But they seem to be slowly perishing. You get to the other side of the lake after what feels like 5 minutes or 5 hours, depending on your perspective. Aiden, what are you thinking about in this particular moment?
He's trying to figure out. The Guru scent itself is faint, but trying to figure out how faint is faint. Like roughly how long has it been since this trail had been here, and what they're going to do once they actually encounter, if there is a Guru that's here, if they're dangerous.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me an intelligence and occult. I know, your favorite.
Yeah. Hey. None.
0 successes. You don't know. You can't tell based off of the fading smell whether, again, it's been recently or if it could have been decades ago. It's impossible to tell. Senses are not working the way they do normally for you. You can tell how long it's been since a deer passed through a brush on the material plane, but here, it's impossible to tell. Aspen, what are you thinking about as you reach the other shore?
She is thinking about how she can get this done as quick as possible, because this is dangerous and unknown, two things she is really not comfortable with.
Go ahead and roll me a composure and resolve check as you're trying to maintain your cool in this scenario, even though it is very off-putting.
That's 5 with a crit.
5 successes with the crit. So despite the unusual nature of your surroundings, you do manage to remain steady and calm, keeping your breathing even, keeping your pace set, your hands not tremoring, held almost sentinel at your sides. Jester, what are you thinking about?
I'm looking at the pattern spiders closing off the Umbra and the dead fish in the lake, and feeling really sad, like not sure if I could do anything for the fish, but also it leads into a deeper contemplation of the connection of the Umbra and the other side, the world, Earth or Gaia, and how the sickness seems to be just feeding off of each other in a cycle.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a composure and occult roll, as the knowledge of what's happening combined with your own emotions is kind of setting in.
No successes.
No successes. Okay. Take a point of Hirano.
Okay.
The devastation of what you're seeing is not good. It is just real to you. It's really setting in beyond what you see on the material world, the effect it's having on the spiritual world, and just how much bigger this fight is almost overwhelming. Joseph, as you reach the other bank, what are you thinking about?
The whole walk through the lake bed, he was looking at the fish, and in his head reciting not a prayer, but I guess a prayer, that he learned when he was a kid, whenever he would be out in the woods with his grandma, or when he would go hunting, a prayer of sometimes thanks and sometimes mourning the death. So as he was walking through, he was looking at the fish and offering a thought of mourning and sorrow for them.
Go ahead and give me a composure and occult test as well. Three successes. It's sad. It's very sad. But if anything, this is why you're doing this. This is evidence to what this is all about. This is all has always been about. Yes, there have been a lot of sacrifices. Yes, there has been a lot of pain and a lot of damage inflicted. But you have hope. You have a belief that this can be fixed, that it isn't too late, that it isn't something that couldn't be restored. Your knowledge of the Umbra, your knowledge of the beyond, kind of tells you that this is a phase. Things die, but they are reborn again. If the work is done, if the fight is had. And yes, it's been a long time since they fought, but you're here now. And you're doing something. As you reach the other bank, the trail continues off into the woods. The desolate, kind of dried branches of the trees above kind of click-clacking against each other in an almost kind of scraping motion that is slightly harmful to the ears at first, but eventually kind of becomes the sounds you're used to, as even here in the Umbra there is a breeze, however faint, however dry, and it does seem to rustle the trees nearby. After a little bit of walking, we transition and the trees begin to bloom a little bit further in. The further away from this lake that you get, you can see that there is still some life nearby. It's not great. You can see some of the leaves have fallen from the tree as if winter or fall was setting in. But they are alive. Everybody go ahead and take a point of willpower damage to remain in the Umbra as we transition scenes. You follow the trail until you end up at the base of a tree. The tree that's kind of in the center of this copse of trees. It seems to reach up higher, and the trail pauses here, walking up to the tree, and you can see that the tree itself sprouts upwards, and in almost a kind of branched movement seems to encircle or reach towards the moon, high up in the sky, up towards Luna up above. It almost seems to be like drawn towards it or trying to kind of reach out to it for aid. And this is where the trail seems to stop temporarily before moving onward.
Aiden will turn back into his human self, kind of look around like the trail's gone. Leads to this tree.
It's pointing at the moon. Is it a good place?
I don't know. Whole place is creepy and weird, so I'm gonna say no. This is not a good place.
We can see Luna. That's something. And if the tree is looking to Luna, maybe. Well, it's not a worm spirit, so that's something.
Do you want me to try and talk to it?
I mean, yeah. Yeah, we can try to talk to it.
Okay. She kind of like looks awkwardly at everyone and kneels down in front of the tree.
Got it.
Jester will kneel down next to Aspen and be like, I can help.
Okay. Kind of looks over to Joseph for reassurance.
You got this.
And she will put her hand on the tree, and she's going to try and do her rite of spirit summoning.
Okay. How does that work?
So, rite of spirit summoning, it can call forth a spirit that you can see or know the name of, or that you can try to connect with. It is a honor and persuasion roll against the spirit's level, I believe, with a modifier of the gauntlet. But since we're in the Umbra, I'm not sure how that
The
works.
gauntlet does not apply. You are in the spirit's domain. There is nothing that seems to be blocking the spirits from hearing you. It's just a matter of do they want to respond. So go ahead and roll that roll.
Four.
4 successes. So as you call out to the spirit, what do you say?
Sheepishly, she's going to... Hello, tree spirit. We would like to speak with you, if that's all right. If you're listening, I'm new to this. I'm sorry. And she just starts rambling. I'm sorry. I'm new to this. I don't know how this works, but if you could help us, that would be really wonderful.
Your words kind of echo through the woods with a little bit more to them. After having read the rites, read the instructions from Eliza about how it's not just about what you say, but how you say it. You do your best to try and match the energy reflected within the book, and you can feel that your words have weight. Perceivable weight. At first, there's no response. The tree seems to just remain silent. But then the branches start to creak, start to groan, and as you follow the source of the sound, you can see them kind of reaching upwards and extending even further towards the moon. As they do so, almost as if from the moon itself, a star emerges and starts to fall. As it falls like a shooting star across the sky, it seems to be focused primarily on the direction of the outstretched limbs. Eventually, the tree groans again as the star itself lands on one of the outstretched limbs of the tree. And this kind of like spectral, almost light-based creature starts to kind of entwine around the tree, kind of crawling its way down, skittering along the limb until it kind of reaches where the limb meets the base of the tree and just kind of sits there looking down. She hears you. She's not one for words very often. She's just kind of doing what they do, their job. But I'm here. She sent me. What can I do
It's very
for
nice
you?
to meet you. What was your name?
She seems kind of puzzled at the question. Name. I suppose you could call me... I guess you could call me... Star! That seems simple enough.
That's beautiful and fitting.
Well, my mistress, Luna, bids you welcome.
Thank you.
She has
We-
heard you.
We brought you gifts, and she kind of turns to Joseph.
So Joseph will reach into his little bag and pull out a couple moonstones from the shop and hand them up to the loom.
Oh, gifts.
Star.
I like gifts. We don't get a lot of gifts here. And she kind of scrambles down the tree, and you can see that she does have, as she moves, it seems to be taking the shape of a more human form, almost reflecting your own appearances. And by the time that she reaches the base of the tree, down enough to reach, she actually starts to take on the appearance of a glowing, glittery Aspen. As she reaches out with a tiny hand and gathers up all the stones and kind of pulls them in. This is delightful. I have not received such a gift before. She kind of drops down to the ground and sits down on one of the large kind of roots that extend outward of the tree, almost like a little bench, and starts kind of juggling the stones a little bit in her hands. I'm pleased. Well,
I'm so glad.
you called and I have answered. Well, she has answered and sent me. What would you like to know?
Well, we're looking for an item, something to help someone struggling back on our side. A tear of Gaia.
Tear of Gaia. She kind of keeps juggling the stones, almost absently switching to one hand and just kind of juggling them with the single hand. Tear of Gaia, Tear of Gaia. Oh, yes. Yes. We know of these. Gaia has cried many tears. Many tears over a great long time. My mistress has heard her wails and her pleas. Unfortunately, there is very little we can do but watch and remain and hold the vigil of night. But I have heard of these things, yes. There was another who came before that asked for such a thing.
I think I know who you're speaking of. We would love to help Gaia and at least as much as we can here. Do you know where we could find one?
She kind of looks up towards the moon and then seems to be having a non-verbal conversation with the moon itself. We know such things, yes. But we must make sure you are worthy of such information. Your call was so pleasant and so full of need, which is why we answered. But desperate times and desperate measures being what they are, these things are, well, rare, to say the least. Many of the tears have dried and gone, but few remain. My mistress bids you take on a task? Mission? Quest?
Of course, of course.
You must find your patrons and receive their approval. If your patrons see fit, and you have impressed upon them that you are worthy, then you may return here, and I will tell you where to find such a tier. The last one who came had been, well, proven many times over, so they did not have to endure such a task. But you are new. You are new to this world, and therefore you must show us that this is a place for you. If you can find your patrons, and you can seek their blessing, Luna will be pleased, and we will do as you ask.
Wonderful. Do you have any idea where we can start? Or just start looking?
Well, what does your patron represent?
Mine specifically?
Yes.
A falcon spirit, leadership. Sorry, I'm a little caught off guard. Leadership.
Leadership. What do you think of when you think of leadership? What does leadership mean to you?
Keeping people safe and making sure they're on the right path and giving guidance.
Yes, it means all those things. But what do you think of from your world when you think of leadership?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
What represents leadership to you in your world? Who represents leadership to you in your world?
Well, there are many leaders in our world.
To you,
Oh,
not your world.
that would be someone near and dear to me. Her name is Rachel.
And as Aspen says the word Rachel, she's gone. The spirit looks over towards Aiden. And your patron? What do they represent to you?
The north wind, ma'am, the person.
Star. You can call me Star.
Okay. The north wind, Star.
And what does the north wind represent?
It's a guide in a sense. Always good smells come from the north.
Good smells. Good smells. What represents guidance to you? In your world?
A good trail, a game trail can be guidance to get out of a situation or a place where you shouldn't be.
The hunt!
Yeah.
And with that, Aiden's gone. Jester and Joseph, you're the last two who remain. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You! She points to Jester. What does your patron represent?
My patron is Gorgon. She represents fighting injustice.
Oh, the battering ram. Yes, yes. And where do you think of when you think of Gorgon? Who do you think of? What do you think of?
I think of Steno. Especially Chloe, my best friend.
And with that, Jester is gone. You've been here before, she says as she looks over to Joseph. You've proved some.
Very far away.
Very far away. But nothing is really far or near. It depends on how meaningful it is. I think I know where you should go. And with that, Joseph is gone. We're going to go ahead and take these one by one in the order that they were sent. So we'll start with Aspen. Aspen, as the name Rachel leaves your lips, everything around you changes. You now find yourself in the building known as the law firm in which you work, but it definitely looks different. While there are a lot of features that remain the same, you can see the walls, the windows, the basic structure of the building. Desks are gone. People are gone, but for some reason you can hear the voices of chatter all around you, as if conversations are happening on every side. You can see along the edges of the room these same kind of woven spider webs seem to be making up the pillars of the building and the walls themselves. You can see many of these web spiders, these pattern spiders, kind of moving about, kind of re-securing some of the pillars and keeping them going. You're in what seems to be kind of the main office pool, where some of the other associates kind of would be working. But you see the door that leads into Rachel's office, and currently it is closed.
She will kind of take everything in and cautiously step towards the door and open it.
Okay. As the door opens, you can see Rachel's desk. It seems to be one of the only actual material objects that has somehow transitioned over into the Umbra. Her desk, while it's rather plain in its appearance normally on the material side of things, it looks scratched and beaten and damaged. Some of the wood has been chipped away, but the desk holds strong, despite all of the adversarial forces that have seemed to try and come against it. It still stands, as does Rachel's mission, as does her purpose. You can see along the surface of the desk little worms kind of crawling and trying to eat away at the divots in the desk. And as you're kind of focusing on these grotesque representations of ruin, your attention is almost redirected as a falcon quickly flies in, lands, and snatches one of the worms off the desk and just starts gobbling it and kind of choking it down. It looks over and kind of cocks its head at you.
She nods towards it respectfully.
What are you doing here?
I was put here by Star.
What are you doing here?
If you're speaking of the Umbra, we are looking for a tier to help someone on the other side.
It kind of shakes out its wings a little bit. Go ahead and roll me a wits and insight check. You can get a very distinct frustration coming off of the Falcon's movements. What are you doing here?
Doing what needs to be done, doing what I was asked to do.
Why?
Because I have to.
Why?
Because it needs to mean something.
Why? And you can tell the tone kind of shifts.
She kind of like leans back and she fidgets with the ring on her finger. Because if not, then it was for nothing.
It kind of shifts its weight back and forth between its 2 feet. When will it mean something? What will it take?
Honestly, I don't know.
Kind of sits silently for a few moments, observing you, studying you. What do you want?
I want to have some normalcy, for things to be normal again.
Do you think that's possible?
No, I know it's not possible, which is why it has to mean something.
It means something. It already does. But for it to mean something to you means you have to accept it. Truly accept it. You're not there yet. Do you want to be there?
I do.
You have my blessing.
Thank you.
And with that, you're gone again. Back at the base of the tree. As we shift over to Aiden. Aiden. As you emerge, you are on a wide open plain. There is no trees, no foliage, no covering, just what appears to feel like the grass beneath your feet. You are in your lupus form, on all fours. The wind kind of blows across this open plain, stirring the grasses. And as the grass stirs, it speaks. You have returned.
Hello?
You seek guidance once again.
I do?
You are distracted.
His eyes shifting back and forth constantly. Yeah, a little.
Go ahead and roll me a wits and awareness.
Three.
As your eyes are kind of shifting around, you're hearing the voice coming off of the grass. You look to one side, and you see what looks to be an elk. You look to the other, and you see a wolf. A very familiar wolf. Where will you run?
What purpose am I needed for in this?
There's no response.
He'll just keep looking between the elk and the wolf.
You see the elk just seems to be happily kind of munching on some grass. Its antlers kind of extended out over its head. On the other side, you see the wolf just kind of perched there, sitting, watching. Where will you run?
I don't know. I'm feeling a torn feeling again.
You must decide.
When
You
looking
cannot
at
be two places.
when looking at the wolf, what does the wolf look like?
Malnourished. You can see that a lot of the hair has thinned in its mane. It looks gaunt. It looks pained. And it just looks broken. That's the best way to describe it. The eyes seem empty and lost. The posture slouches from almost a lack of strength to stand. It seems, in the harshest way, domestic and decaying.
He'll take a long look again at the wolf. Back to the elk who's just grazing. He'll call out to the grass. The wolf looks like it needs help. It's not happy. The elk is just feeding. You'll take a step towards the wolf, start walking towards it.
Okay. As you approach the wolf, who seems in dire and desperate need, you hear the grass behind you stir, and the kind of heavy footfalls of an elk charging away in the opposite direction. As you approach the wolf and you grow closer and closer, its head kind of lolls to the side, and its jaw distends and falls open, and maggots and worms kind of start falling out of its mouth and crawling towards the ground. As they reach the ground, the body kind of deteriorates into bone and crumbles into a pile. The bones then, creaking, stand upwards again. And they begin to charge towards you, ready to attack. We are now in combat. Declare your intention as this skeletal form that once took the appearance of your brother charges towards you.
Gonna stay in Lupus for the time being, and realizing that there's a wolf attacking him now, he's going to charge and try and fight off the wolf.
All right, go ahead and give me a strength and brawl as the two opposing forces, one made of bone with long sharpened claws and fangs, comes charging towards you, and you both collide in the middle.
Six.
Okay. So as you smash together, are you using your claws or are you using your teeth?
Yeah, right now Aiden's lunging forward and jumping forward with his claws extended outwards.
Okay. So your claws make contact first. You can hear the cracking of brittle bones underneath the full force of your paws colliding with them, sending this skeletal rendition of your brother crashing and just smashing backwards against the ground. It kind of reclaims its feet and kind of shakes it off a little bit and starts to charge again as we enter into the second round. What are your intentions?
First, he'll look to him, Stone, please don't do this. And he'll lunge again, just with his paws, and try and shove him off again.
Okay. Another strength and brawl, please.
Four.
Okay. This time, as you collide, Stone gets the upper hand. You go with your paws to try and kind of push him back, but he manages to hesitate a mere second, then lift up his paws to your already extended ones, and the claws dig into the sides, raking along your already extended arms. Or legs, I suppose, in this case. Go ahead and take 2 points of superficial damage as they rake, rending the flesh from your legs. It kind of lets its jowl hang open, the clicking of the bone of it kind of unhinging as it opens, and all you see is more of these worms kind of pouring out of its mouth. Third and final round. The score is tied 2-2. Whoever gets the upper hand will win the encounter. What are your intentions?
To go into Hispo or Krynos, would that be a minor to do that?
It would, but you would suffer the transformation penalty unless you have the ability that allows you to transition quickly. I believe Moon.
You mean
Quicken.
the Moonriled?
Oh yeah, Moonriled, yeah.
I have that.
Okay. So go ahead and make the rage check. Which are you going to do?
Yeah, let's go Krynos. He's been hurt. He's not happy about that.
Okay, so that'll be 2 rage checks.
We're good.
Okay. So almost immediately, feeling the pain, the betrayal, the infection of these claws kind of rending into your flesh, you can't help but let out a bestial roar as you kind of whip him back off, throwing him backwards as you stand up on your hind legs, taking the form of the Krynos werewolf. What is your intention?
Gonna try and end this quickly. He's gonna wait for Stone to run up towards him, and then as he lunges, he's gonna try and grab Stone by the throat where the spine's at, and just
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a strength and brawl. However, I will say you are at a -2 because you are looking for a very specific location.
Yeah.
That's -2 successes, so you can roll your full pool.
So that's 8, so 6.
Successes. The skeletal wolf lunges. You manage to time it just right as you grab it by the throat, and with an almost sickening crunch, you squeeze down upon the spinal column that would make up the throat. It's swift and it's sudden, but the bone almost immediately crushes into powder, and then into an almost composty solution as the bones rot away into a dust of sorts that blows away with the northern wind.
I'm sorry, brother. He'll revert back to his lupus form. Got another rage.
You are down to 1 rage now after coming out of Krynos.
Yep.
The infection of the worm is everywhere, even in the things that seem most healthy. And the wind kind of blows, turning your gaze, and you see that the elk lays in the grass, rotted and eaten away. The battles for Gaia that seem the most dire, the most personal, are not always the ones that need to be fought. Not always the highest priority. The worm deceives in its decay.
Understood.
This distraction will be your undoing if you let it continue to tear you asunder. But you have strength and a lot of fight left in you, and therefore you have my blessing.
Thank you.
The wind kind of rushes over you, and you find yourself by the tree with Aspen. And now we're going to transition again to Jester. Jester, when you arrive and you appear, you are bound. You can see what appear to be the various poles of a prison cell that are made of the same spectral webbing that seem to have created and woven together this entire structure. Your feet seem to stick to the surface of the ground as you try to kind of move and get your bearings. You find yourself finding a little more effort to get moving in any direction. But on one of the walls, the stones seem to have cracks kind of growing amongst them, spiraling out and spreading out in every direction, kind of from the source of an impact against it. In this cell, all you hear are screams. And every scream in its own tone sounds familiar. As a separate member of Stheno calls out in agony, in fear, in pain from all around, until Chloe's voice, "Where did you go? We needed you." Go ahead and make me a composure and resolve check.
Three successes.
3 successes. The pain digs deep. This one hits hard. Because despite that you were doing what was best, trying to keep your head down and stay out of the way, the ones that you left behind weren't so lucky. Go ahead and take an aggravated willpower damage. That sticky floor now feels like it's crawling up your leg and taking the form of fingers, trying to grab and hold your feet down and bind you. You can feel similar hands kind of reaching out for your wrists, trying to pull and restrain you. What would you like to do?
I would like to fight off the sticky hands.
Okay. Go ahead and give me either a strength and athletics to wrench them away or a strength and brawl to try and break them.
I'm gonna try to break them.
Okay.
Five successes.
5 successes. Easy enough. You manage to use one of the bound hands to kind of smash against the imposing force that's trying to hold you down, shattering it and breaking your hand free. Using your other free hand, you wrench the reaching hand off of your other wrist and kind of go down to your feet and yank them free, pulling these prying fingers away. You have movement for the moment. The bars are in front of you. There are walls on 3 sides, or on all 3 sides, but one of them seems to be cracked and worn.
I'm going to shift to Glabro.
Okay. So go ahead and make the 1 rage check to shift into the more hulking form.
Good, didn't lose. And I'm going to attempt to pound down I'm aiming for the cracks in the wall.
Okay. Give me a strength and athletics as you try to use the force of your might to kind of smash against the cracked walls.
Three successes.
Okay. So you smash with your full body weight against the wall, and the stone continues to crack, but you haven't quite been able to make purchase. From behind you, you're going the wrong way! And as you turn to face the other wall, you see Chloe and the other members of Stheno shackled to the wall. What would you like to do?
Are they inside the cell with me?
They are now.
I'm going to rush to them and attempt to break the shackles.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me another strength and athletics as you turn away from the cracked wall in front of you, heading towards your captured companions.
Oh, hey, finally. 6 successes with a crit.
So as you rush over to your companions and start to grab onto the shackles around their wrists, trying to break them free, your skin starts to sizzle and burn as you grab the shackles, and as you release them quickly enough to look again, you see that now the shackles are silver. And your attempts to free them are only going to hurt you further. Take 1 aggravated health damage.
At this point, I don't care.
Okay.
I need to free them.
Go ahead and roll me another strength and athletics.
Four successes.
Okay, you wrench at the shackles, managing to break them free, but taking another point of aggravated health damage in the process, as the burning of the silver on your muscular hands is just painful and searing. But you manage to break free the hands of your companions. As you do so, they kind of reach for their wrists and say, "Where did you go? Why did you leave? We should have been together. We should have stuck together."
I didn't know. I'm sorry.
What did you think was going to happen?
I didn't think.
Be great if this was real, wouldn't it?
I think it'd be a whole lot worse if it was real.
We're still trapped.
I'm still coming for you.
Then what are you doing here?
Trying to make things better. Trying to make the fight that we are fighting a winnable one.
Are you?
Yes.
Then why didn't you tell us?
There are rules I have to follow. And I don't think you'd understand everything.
And maybe we'll never get the chance. And you see one of the eyes of Chloe get eaten away as a worm emerges from it and starts crawling across her face and into her mouth. And back from the cracked wall, you hear, "Come and get me, dear."
Turn around.
You just see the same cracked wall.
They're free. I'm gonna go bust down the wall.
Okay, go ahead and roll me another strength and athletics.
Or strength and brawl.
Brawl. Yeah, if you want to try and pound with your fists instead of shouldering against it. Yeah, you're in a much bigger form now.
Nine successes.
Okay, this time it's not even hard. You just bring your fists and all your anger and fury and smash against the wall, and you feel the stone almost shatter beneath your might, breaking it down into what looks to be the neighboring cell of this particular facility. But in this cell, it is dark. The overhanging bulb behind you is the only source of light that seems to shine into the room, and you see a long, coiled serpent's tail that seems to extend into a human-esque covered form, covered in scales, with arms reaching out, and a woman, stunningly beautiful, with snakes kind of emerging from her hair. The authority holds a lot of sway here, doesn't it?
Does.
Everything feels like a prison. No matter whether you're on the inside or the outside, you are bound. Bound by rules, bound by restrictions, laws, enforcement. What caused you to hide, my dear? What were you so afraid of that sent you running to the woods?
Guilt.
Guilt. Guilt is but another chain. Another restraint. What do you feel so guilty about?
All those people trapped underneath that power grid that didn't even deserve to be there. They were just victims.
Did you kill them?
No.
Then what do you have to feel guilty about?
Not stopping the one that did.
Not stopping them. yet. Some stories aren't over until they're over, and your guilt is forcing an ending. It is just a battle in a war. You must continue to fight and not run. Or these cells just grow stronger, these binds just grow stronger, and your friends just lose time. You know what has them. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop feeling sorry for something you couldn't prevent. And fight.
Okay.
Or be bound. Go ahead and make a charisma or manipulation and intimidation check as she says, I don't believe you. Are you going to fight or not?
Five successes. She will snap back. Yes.
All right. You don't have to yell about it. You have my blessing, dear. Keep breaking walls, keep breaking shackles, and keep punching faces, and we'll be just fine.
Done.
And with another laugh, you find yourself at the base of the tree with Aiden and Aspen. Joseph.
Yes.
You stand in a very familiar terrain atop the slope of the mountains that were once your home. Further away than the rest, your thoughts, your mind, your inspiration isn't local. It's home. In this particular instance, you find yourself in a cabin. You find yourself at the foot of a rocking chair. And in that rocking chair sits Meemaw. Oh, Joseph! Hello!
Hi, Mimo.
How's Florida?
It's different.
Different? You make different sound bad.
It needs a lot of help.
Well, help is what we do, dear. It's what we've always done.
That's what it is.
How are you helping?
I'm looking to the little ones. Trying to give them help. I'm trying to leave it better than I found it.
How do you think you're doing?
Slow. Steady.
Do you think you're making progress?
A little bit.
Doesn't sound very confident.
Slow. I watched some people clean up. The mess is big. It's really, really big.
Too big?
No such thing. If I get a little bit, I've done something.
Go ahead and make charisma and persuasion.
One.
You don't seem very confident, Joseph. But your heart's in the right place. So why are you here?
Someone sent me here to see if I've earned my place.
Do you think you have?
It's not for me to decide.
Of course it is. This is the place where our thoughts and feelings are manifest.
You're not. There's something behind you, Mima. And Serpent doesn't give blessings freely, doesn't give secrets freely.
There's always been something behind me, Joseph.
I know. You knew too much.
You think of the work you're doing as limited to the work you're doing in Florida, not the work you did before. The work you did in learning, the work you did in thinking, ruminating, the work you did in assisting me. You have done good work your entire life. That doesn't mean the work stops, but it's still work done. And that work has helped your wisdom. Part of knowing where you're going is remembering where you came from. The good and the bad. But you shouldn't be so critical of the victories you've already had. You belong here. That's why you were called. That's why you were chosen. Perhaps more than all the others.
Not more, Mima. Not more. Just different. Just needed.
Very good.
But needed.
You've always had my blessing. You just needed a brief reprieve and a chance to be home and familiar and in a place. And she kind of gestures with a hand, and you can see that the grass is growing, the trees are full of leaves despite the season. You needed to remember why. That it could be good again. That it wasn't just a mess. It was, well, just untended. And now you're there to tend it, just like I've been here to tend this place for so long. You must go back.
They're gonna get lost.
Without you, that's almost a certainty.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon. Keep up the good work, and you'll have a place as beautiful as this. And with that, we're going to bring an end to the first act and take a break. Let's take a quick five-ish minutes, everyone, and we'll be back with the second half, where the party is rejoined together, and they find out where they're going next. Thank you so much for sticking with us, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes. We'll see you soon.
St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaborations with our partnered vendors, Wolfpack Dice, Ember Fox Dice, Dragon Ink Dice, Bear the Bard, Champs Tramps, Penshi Artista, and Chromatic Creations. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpbynight.com. The official theme song for St. Petersburg by Night is Vampire by Faith and Failure. You could find them at faithandfailure.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our program, you could do so at coffee.com/St. Pete by Night to help keep the stories rolling.
Welcome back, everyone. We hope you had a good break. In the first half, our pack ventured into the Umbra and met a spirit, a loon named Star. Star said that she could tell them where one of the tiers of Gaia were, but they had to gain the blessing of their patron spirits first. So they were each transported, moved somewhere where they were challenged. They were interrogated, they were questioned, or in some cases, just simply given a little bit of time back home. But now they find themselves at the base of the tree once more. Star just sitting on the root still, kind of looking at the moonstone in her hand, like flipping it over, checking the other side, inspecting all the edges. And Artie is perched on the back of Regina, the large spider spirit, seemingly snoring, leaning back, laid back, splayed out over the spider's back, just kind of snoring as he's kind of asleep upon the spider. Regina gives a quick jostle, and he's oh, hey guys, hey. How did it go?
Went well.
Aiden will gesture to his arms. I think I won.
What happened? I mean, you guys were here, and then all of a sudden, like you were all gone, and I don't even know how long it's been. Regina, how long has it been? Long enough.
I'm looking down at my hands.
Instead of burns, what you see is withered, decayed flesh. And since we're back at the tree, everybody spend another point of willpower. Shit, what happened to you? Artie says. He looks over at Jester.
Silver shackles.
That's weird. I don't even think that
Eh.
was a thing here.
I guess it was a personal message.
Oh. Well, you want to talk about it? I mean, I know these things can be kind of trippy. Mine was. I had to do a whole, like, you know, spy thing where I had to, like, weave through webs and crawl on my belly and then, like, climb over, and it was a whole thing.
I think it's just good that we're all back and we're all in one piece for the most part, looking over at Jester's hands and Aiden's arm. And that's what matters.
Okay. Star? He kind of calls over and she goes, Yeah, what's up? Hi. Oh, you're back. Hello. How did it go? You got it? Oh,
I think
good.
so.
Well, good. They got it. And she kind of looks up towards the moon again and then just kind of stares at it for a few moments. Okay, she says you got it. I just have to check in with management, you know. Well, good. Then I guess I can tell you where to go. So, the Tears of Gaia usually form where the most damage has been done. It's not a nice place. It's not a good place. But it's a place that, well, hurts a lot. There's a place here where a lot of hurt has been done. That way. And she kind of gestures, and as you all kind of follow that gesture, your eyes drift off in the direction of the city itself. The city is massive compared to its usual stature. In the woods, you wouldn't be able to see it, but from here, it stands over the horizon. Jagged, massive pillars covered up with a heavy clouds kind of hanging around the spires that go up and out of sight beyond. You can see kind of flashes in the clouds up above as lightning seems to kind of crawl its way across the sky. Followed shortly after by thunder. As you're watching, everyone go ahead and roll me a wits and awareness. Okay. So, Joseph, Jester, and Aiden. Looking off, kind of projecting your sight beyond, many of the spires look like buildings that have kind of been grown or weaved out of the earth and up into the sky. Tall kind of structures that have withstood the test of time within the city and have definitely made an impression on the Umbra. But as you're watching, you see one of the spires kind of start to shift and raise up, and that's when you notice a large spider leg appears to be one of the spires, lifting out of the ground, the long kind of hairs coming out of its long leg shifting ever so slightly, drawing your eyes upward to the cloud cover where you can see the body of a massive spider up above. The Weaver was very busy with that place, but it's ever changing, ever growing, constantly needing upkeep, constantly replacing and building and rebuilding, to the point that it gets distracted. Very distracted. And as you look to the legs of the spider once more, you can see worms kind of moving down its legs, down towards the cityscape down below. When you're overworked, you miss the small details. That's where you'll find it. Ready to go?
One moment. I'm still in Glabro, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am going to attempt to at least heal one of these aggravated.
Okay.
Well, I lose one rage.
Okay, so that takes you down to 2, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but I can heal this one. Yeah, I'm at 2 right now. I'll wait for now.
We're going to the big leg thing.
Well, not there specifically, but yeah, pretty close.
City's a big place. There's a lot to search.
Oh, well, we're not gonna be that bad. You got blessings. We'll put you close to it.
Okay.
Are you ready?
We got this, Aspen.
Okay, I trust you.
Okie dokie. Here we... And before you know it, there's a flash, and you find yourself standing outside of a rather massive building, not as tall as some of the spires and skyscrapers around it. But for those who are familiar with Tampa, it's the Amalie Arena, home of the Tampa Bay Lightning hockey team. Place of many victories and successes, like when they won the Stanley Cup just a few years ago, to many, many devastating failures, like their countless seasons outside of the playoffs. The building itself is a construction marvel. You can see the weaver's work at play here. But it also has been quite some time. There are a lot of emotions present. You can see flares of green and red, white and blue. Various emotions kind of raging all throughout the building. Some joy, some sorrow, some frustration and anger. All emotions are present here, but one seems to stand out from the building more than any other. Deep within the bowels, almost breaking through the roof. Despair. But you stand on the steps outside the arena, many doors kind of lining the edge. And you're present. What would you like to do?
Do we just go in?
I think so.
What's going to be in that?
That's a great question, Aiden. Great question.
Are you going to answer it?
No? I don't know.
Oh. Okay. He's going to start making his way in then.
Oh, hold on. Just so we're prepared. How are you guys feeling with your mental fortitude. It's kind of been itching at the back of my head for a little bit since we've been here.
I'm a little tired. That test took a bit out of me.
Okay. Well, I can do something real quick to kind of bolster us a little bit, I guess, make us feel a little bit better.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I would like to do Howl of Assembly. Right,
Go ahead
Howl
and
of Assembly.
describe what that is and what it looks like for Aspen, at least.
Sorry, gift, not right. I don't know why I said that. So I can basically do a charisma and honor against a difficulty 2, and heal a point of willpower for the pact.
Okay.
So she's going to kind of look at everybody and be like, okay, this is a little, I know it's a little weird, so she'll kind of group everyone together. It just makes it easier if we're closer together. Does everybody want to do a quick howl with me? Just like a...
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead
And
make
she'll
a roll.
just start howling.
Aiden will join in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's 5.
Okay. So all of you joining together in the howl, the chorus, all of you will heal a point of willpower. Feeling yourself strengthened by this united call, feeling the presence of the song spirit calling out from Aspen, you feel yourself bolstered, encouraged to proceed within. Entering into the building, there are the long corridors of the arena that seem to stretch out in either side, and there are the archways that kind of lead to the bleachers that go down to the surface of the ice itself. Inside, there are faint chants to be heard. Some are kind of encouraging and bolstering. Others are dismayed, angered, frustrated. Some are groans of defeat. Like songs of their own, matching your howl, it is a cacophony of emotion. The corridors look empty for the most part, although you do see kind of tiny little gafflings and jagglings, tiny little spirits that kind of are, some of them are a little mal-shaped, kind of running around and like digging at what appears to be a little bit of detritus in the corners. And you can see the spiders kind of moving to repair the damage that's being done. Where would you like to go? There's a corridor to the right that continues around the arena, corridor to the left, and an entryway that goes into the bleachers in front of you.
Do we want to just head in? Just go straight to the Battle of the Beast as it is?
Yeah, you
What?
said it came from the despair seemed to come from the core of it, like from down
Yeah.
below.
Yep.
I mean, maybe we should go down to the basement.
More like the center of the building.
Oh, the center.
core of the
Okay,
building.
yeah. I guess into the middle. Center ice.
A while
could
since I've seen ice.
Regina kind of says, this isn't for me to do, but I'm going to keep some of these, and she kind of gestures over to the jagglings and gafflings. I'll keep them from getting in your way, but I'll be here when you get out. You guys got this. You got this. It's gonna be great. You're gonna be fine. And she
Thanks,
kinda
Thank you.
shakes Artie off, who kind of gets down and kind of gives her a pat and like a fuck before following behind. You pass into the arena, the massive scoreboard not present up above. Doesn't appear. You just see the kind of dome shape of the building and the seats scattered on either side, kind of encircling the entire center ice area. In the center of the ice stands a spire that's maybe 2-3 feet tall, made of a crystallized rock that seems to conflict with the icy surface of the kind of rink around it. You can see that it is almost broken through. But the spire is broken through more than just the ice, as you see a Krynosed wolf impaled upon the spire, limply kind of draped over it in its Krynos form. It seems withered and worn, like the Umbra has sapped all of the life from it. Joseph, go ahead and roll me an intelligence and occult.
You think that's him?
I'm assuming so. Yes.
Can we bring him back to her?
That's.
Body, at least.
I hope we can. That's the least we can do.
I'm spending a willpower.
Okay.
Oh, wait. I can't.
No?
No, that's that's 2 on my rage. 2 2s on my rage dice. That's a brutal.
Okay. Well, this is an intelligence check. This isn't a physical test. So, drawing upon your deep knowledges forces you to kind of let go of some of your composure. And the Umbra is not a forgiving place. How many successes did you get?
Yeah, 0.
0 successes, but a brutal result.
Yes.
Okay. For that, you are going to take 1 aggravated health damage and 1 aggravated willpower damage. You don't know what this is. Could be anything. Could just be an illusion.
Should we just go out there?
Sure.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Maybe be delicate.
I'll be behind him.
Been on ice before.
I meant with the body, so we have something to bring back if we can.
Oh. Okay.
So as you make your way down, you see that there's no glass, no boards, as those are commonly replaced and redone pretty regularly, torn down, erected with concerts and the changing of the seasons and other events that take place here. They have no place in the Umbra. They're not around long enough to leave that much of an impression. So as you get down to the ground level, you can feel the cold kind of emanating from the ice's surface. And you stride out onto it, slippery at first. Everyone go ahead and make dex and athletics checks to try and keep your footing on the slippery surface of the ice itself. Okay. Aspen, you immediately fall on your butt on the ice's surface, but everybody else manages to maintain their footing, not giving much way. Artie kind of comes over and helps you up and says, I'm not really good on ice either. Maybe we can walk together? Just hold on to each other for support.
Yeah, okay. And she'll hook her arm into his.
But you guys kind of slide your way out, almost like scooting on the ice rather than picking up your feet and risking balancing on one foot at a given time. Shuffling, more like, as you go across the ice's surface. Getting nearer and nearer to the spire that is Gaia's tier. Broken through the ice. You see the impaled, withered Krynos form kind of lumped over the shard. As you get closer, you feel the ice start to crack. As you get closer and closer to the spire. Eventually the ice cracks and gives way. Everybody roll another dex and athletics to try and keep your feet or to get back to a more steady surface. You can roll an additional die, Aspen, because of Artie's assistance. Okay. So, Aiden, Jester, you're fine. You managed to kind of stick to the more secure ice, but Joseph and Aspen, the ice breaks beneath your feet, and you both go in. Artie coming with you, Aspen, as he falls into the icy cold water beneath. It's a lot deeper than the ice surface of a hockey arena. You find yourself go beneath the surface, dropping into the dark, cold waters below. And the ice seals up over you. You are now submerged underwater, and the ice remains above. Aiden and Jester, you see Joseph, Artie, and Aspen go plummeting into the water, and then spiders immediately rush out onto the ice and fix the ice in a rapid pattern, restoring it, but you know your friends are beneath. Aspen and Joseph, go ahead and make stamina and athletics as you are taking in what breath you can, knowing that that's the only breath you're going to have until you find a way out. Okay. Aspen, go ahead and take a superficial health damage. The cold shocks some of the breath out of you. What would you like to do? Aiden.
Oh, he's running over to where the ice broke, and he's trying to break it. He's trying to break through.
Okay.
Get to them.
So go ahead and give me a strength and brawl. Aspen, declare your intention.
Okay, well, this is just a thing. Usually there's like a thin pocket of air between ice and water, because that's just how that works.
Sure.
She's gonna try and get up and like breathe it when she needs to, just like take in like small sucks, because there's no way she's breaking through this ice.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do a wits and awareness for that, just to see if you're of sound mind enough to get up to that air. Jester.
Did they all fall through in the same area? Like,
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like a big pocket just broke underneath them.
I'm going to also run over there and attempt to break the ice.
Okay, you can roll a strength and brawl as well, and I will combine yours and Aiden's scores to see if you can smash through the ice. Joseph.
Could I maybe do a wits and investigation?
Yeah, I'll allow it. Yeah.
Okay.
Given the brutal result I just had, I'm going Krynos.
Okay, so go ahead
And I'm going to smash.
Go ahead and make your 2 rage checks. Do you have Moonriled?
No, I don't have the thingy.
Okay, so you would take the -2 penalty to the transformation between the 2 forms to try do your strength and brawl. Okay, so Aiden and Jester, how much did you get? Okay. 7 and 4. Okay. Aspen, you got 3. And Joseph, you got 5. Okay. So, as the ice kind of seals over, Aiden and Jester, you kind of slide your way over there and immediately kind of start Hulk smashing onto the ice, causing it to crack and break. Despite having just been sealed over by the spiders, it would take a lot more reinforcement for them to actually make a full kind of covering. So combined between the 3 of you, Joseph, Jester, and Aiden, you guys are able to break through a hole in the ice. Aspen, you are able to get above water enough to recover your breath. With the hole opened up in the ice, you are able to kind of see Aiden and Jester above you kind of smashing through the ice. You guys can try and reach down for Aspen to try and fish her out. However, Aspen, Artie did not do so well in trying to stay above water, and he has grabbed your ankle and started to pull you down. I need opposing strength and athletics tests. Aiden and Jester, you guys are going to be doing teamwork, so whoever has the biggest pool can gain an additional die from the other.
What's your athletics?
3.
Alright, currently mine is a... Currently my entire pool is a 7.
What are we rolling to try and grab them?
Strength and athletics.
That would be a total of a 7 dice pool.
You can go ahead. I'll aid.
Okay.
So 1 additional dice for you. One success? Or what'd you get? What are you holding up there, Joseph? Oh, sorry. Okay. 7 or 6. Okay.
6.
Yeah, you're able to grab onto Aspen, and you can feel that she's a lot heavier than she should be coming up. But as you pull her, you are also pulling Artie, who is holding on to her leg and kind of fishes out of the water and starts coughing and sputtering as water comes kind of evacuating out of his lungs. Holy shit! Hey, I'm I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine. I'm glad you're out.
Oh, I'm not a swimmer. Joseph, do you wish to maintain your Krynos form as you emerge from the ice, kind of using your massive hulking claws to pull yourself up onto the ice's surface?
Once I'm out, no, I'll drop back down.
Okay, so that'll reduce your rage down to 1. And as you climb out of the ice onto the surface, the spiders again emerge out onto the ice's surface, almost swarming over the area and starting to repair the ice and weave it back together. You stand by the spire, which is pierced through the hulking form of this withered, Krynos individual. What would you like to do?
I will pull Artie to his feet and go back to holding on to each other, just in case.
You two.
You are freezing. You are wet, almost like a soaked dog for better purposes. But yes, you are, for the moment, okay. Artie looks a little worse for wear. It looks like his lips have turned a little bit blue, and his skin is definitely a lot more pale, but he seems to be breathing.
I'll do one of those things where you rub your hands across their shoulders trying to warm them up.
Nobody said anything about ice.
Nobody really says anything about a lot of things we've been doing lately, so, that's on par.
Shit. Joseph, Jester, what are you guys doing?
Is the are there spots in the spire to be able to climb it?
It's not that tall. It's only like 2 or 3 feet
Okay.
long. It's more like a shard that's jagging, like
I
jerking out of the edge.
Yeah, okay. I want to figure out how to like remove the body without doing much more damage to it.
Your best bet is to probably just pull
Pull?
it off. It's kind of like at a slanted angle out of the ice, and they're impaled upon it.
Okay. I'm gonna check behind me first to see how thin that ice is behind me.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a wits and investigation.
One success.
Okay. One success. You're not very sure. It was pretty rocky before. You almost fell in yourself if you hadn't gotten back quick enough. So you can tell that the ice seems pretty fragile around this tier itself.
Okay. I'm gonna attempt to pull the body off then.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same.
Okay, go ahead and roll a strength and athletics, Jester, but you can take an assistance from Joseph.
Five successes.
5 successes. Okay. So you do manage to kind of slowly lift the form. They're surprisingly light, considering the kind of massive form that they're in. And you pull, kind of yanking them off of the edge of the spire and kind of trying to gently lay them down, this kind of massive gaping hole in their chest, kind of pulling them off and laying them down. And they're very withered to the touch. They feel very dry and very kind of brittle as you pull them off and lay them down. And Joseph, go ahead and roll me a wits and awareness.
Four.
4 successes. As you're looking over the form, something about their figure stands out. Your eyes are drawn to what looks to be a woven pendant that hangs around their neck. And as you think back to the photo on the nightstand, you see the same pendant that was being worn by the young man that Eliza Ross called her protege, that she was his mentor.
While looking over the body, I will be whispering a quiet blessing for its loss, kind of last rites it.
Upon further study and kind of investigation, being so close to the body too, you can tell that this is someone who succumbed to being in the Umbra for far too long. Perhaps their search was a lot more difficult, a lot more timely, and they did not survive the time spent here.
Is there any motion at all from it? Okay. I will carefully lift the necklace off. To take that back with us if I can.
As you grow to grab the pendant, one of the large hulking arms snaps up and grabs yours, and the lifeless face kind of jerks up, a slight glowing in its eyes. And that is where we're going to end the session for tonight. Thank you so much to everybody who's watching at home. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Programming note, we are going to be taking the next 2 weeks off for the holiday, so rejoin us back here on Twitch for the conclusion of this venture into the Umbra, where our pack faces off against the starving remnant of the protege of Eliza Ross, and in a hope to gain the tier of Gaia and to perhaps return Eliza back from the brink. Check out our amazing sponsors that you'll see in the credits. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all social media. We have X, we have TikTok, We have Instagram. We have a website, SPbN.com, which is the creation of our amazing, amazing webmaster, Kyrie, who put that together for us. It is absolutely unbelievable. We are very, very lucky to have it, where you can also see the threat meter, which shows all of the ramifications and consequences of the actions of our various coteries and groups. Stay on Twitch with us on Thursday night at 11 p.m. You will see the 3rd episode of Don't Get Caught, our Anarch Vampire coterie that is trying to investigate some suspicious murders happening around the Anarch territory. So go check that out. We're not going to be gone for long, just 2 weeks. There is no After Dark this week, so take a nice break. Catch up on the episodes if you haven't already. But one way or another, we appreciate you so, so much for joining us this evening, and we will see you next time. Have a good night, everybody.
This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production. Rage Across Tampa is produced in agreement with the World of Darkness and Dark Pact. The storyteller for Rage Across Tampa is Misha Kent. Tonight's characters were voiced by Simon, Champagne, Preston, and Noree. Visit our website at SPbN.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become part of our community. Thanks for listening. Until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.